This is Mouthwashing, Condensed. The game jumps back and forth in time, so I'll be recounting the story's events chronologically. The story takes place in a freighter spaceship manned by a small crew of 5 people. The crew members are Curly, the ship's captain, Jimmy, the co-captain, Anya, the medic, Swansea, the mechanic, and Daisuke, Swansea's intern. The crew is about halfway through their current delivery. Things begin with Curly talking with Anya right after she wrapped up his psychological evaluation. Anya expresses her concern about Jimmy not taking the psych eval seriously, so Curly says he will take care of it. Curly makes his way to the utility room where he finds Swansea and Daisuke, who's stuck in emergency foam. In his attempt to fix the vent, Daisuke somehow triggered the foam to deploy, getting himself stuck in the process. With an axe, Curly breaks Daisuke free from the foam and gives the axe to Swansea. Curly takes Jimmy to the cockpit to do a psych eval. It's important to note that the two of them are close friends, so Curly tends to overlook a lot of Jimmy's flaws. After the psych eval, Curly shares his thoughts about his current life path. Having been the captain of a freighter spaceship for a while, he wonders if he should try something new for a change of pace. This conversation gets interrupted when he gets a message from management, and it's not good news. Curly has to deliver the bad news to his team, and as if the timing couldn't get any worse, the crew surprises him with a surprise birthday party. As they all gather for cake, Jimmy notices that Curly isn't looking too happy, so Curly reluctantly shares the unfortunate update. After completing their current delivery, the entire crew, except for Curly, will be laid off. Everyone's pretty upset about losing their jobs, understandably, but Jimmy is especially angry, focusing all of his frustration on Curly. Needless to say, the party vibes are ruined, but Curly goes ahead and cuts the cake anyway. A few days later, Curly chats with Anya by the window screen. Since they're both unable to sleep, the two of them have an idle conversation about a dead pixel on the window screen. The game doesn't outright show her saying the words, but the dialogue implies that Anya eventually tells Curly that Jimmy forced himself onto her. The next day, Curly finds Anya in the cockpit, where she reveals that she's pregnant. Fearing that Jimmy might become violent, Anya hid the ship's handgun to keep it out of his reach. Curly still doesn't think Jimmy is really a bad guy, so he says he will talk things out with him. But Anya takes it upon herself to tell Jimmy that she's pregnant, and the conversation doesn't go as well as she hoped. So Curly heads on over to talk to Jimmy, who refuses to take any accountability for what he did to Anya. Jimmy is more worried about himself. He's worried about what might happen to him when they finish their current delivery, so he ominously states that he will take care of it. So what is Jimmy's brilliant plan? He steers the ship into an asteroid, intending to kill everyone on board. Curly makes a last-ditch effort to change the ship's path, but he gets directly caught in the impact, suffering major injuries. The crash severely damages the ship. Several areas get covered in foam, acting as a barrier against the vacuum of space. Thankfully, everyone's still alive. Jimmy, being Jimmy, blamed the crash on Curly. Now, everyone thinks Curly went crazy and tried to kill everyone. With Curly out of commission, Jimmy steps up and declares himself the new captain. Jimmy goes to the medical bay to see Curly, and he's not looking too good. All of his skin has burned off, his hands and feet have been amputated, and the only thing he can move is his left eye. Anya is uncomfortable with force-feeding Curly the painkillers, so Jimmy does it himself. So now it's time for Jimmy to find a way to open the cargo room. But the thing is, the crew was given strict orders to not open the cargo room. Doing so could cost them their paychecks. Since their rations are running low, they open the cargo room anyway, hoping to find some food and supplies. But all they find is mouthwash. Nothing but boxes and boxes filled with mouthwash. Anya mentions that the mouthwash can't be used as disinfectant because of the sugar in it. Seeing how he screwed anyway, Swansea drinks the mouthwash for its alcohol content, ending his 15-year-long sobriety. A month passes, and Jimmy goes on over to the cockpit, walking in on a private conversation between Swansea and Anya. At some point off-screen, Anya most likely told Swansea about Jimmy assaulting her and the resulting pregnancy. Anyhow, Curly has been making a lot of noise, obviously in extreme pain, so Jimmy heads on over to give him the painkillers. The screen goes black, so we can't see what's happening, but we can hear that Jimmy isn't exactly being gentle with Curly. Another month passes by, and the crew is coping as well as you would expect. Anya says that there should be some medicine in the cabinet in the hallway, but it's covered in foam. Jimmy asks Swansea for the axe, and he responds by swinging at the window screen, leaving the axe for Jimmy. Jimmy breaks through the foam and gets into the medicine cabinet, where he finds some isopropyl alcohol. Anya asks Jimmy to feed Curly the painkillers once again, but Jimmy starts to get fed up with all the things he's being told to do. Nevertheless, he complies and feeds Curly the painkillers. After another month, Daisuke suddenly shouts that there's an emergency. Anya has locked herself in the medical bay with Curly, and it sounds like she's about to do something drastic. The only other way into the medical bay is through the vent in the utility room, but Swansea is blocking the door, refusing to let anyone inside. So Daisuke and Jimmy step aside and make a plan to knock Swansea out cold, using a spiked cocktail. With the isopropyl alcohol, some mouthwash, and sweetener, Jimmy makes the cocktail and hands it over to Swansea, who drinks it without a second thought. The cocktail works, and Swansea gets knocked unconscious, allowing Jimmy and Daisuke to enter the utility room. They discover that there's still one functioning cryopod left, which Jimmy assumes that Swansea was saving for himself. Daisuke explains the danger of going into the vent leading to the medical bay, but Jimmy persuades him to take the risk anyway. So Daisuke goes into the vent, and unsurprisingly, he gets severely injured in the process, but he does manage to unlock the medical bay door. Back on his feet, Swansea joins Jimmy to figure out how to treat Daisuke. Swansea mentions the isopropyl, but all of it was already used to spike his drink. So Jimmy comes up with a brilliant idea of pouring mouthwash on Jimmy to disinfect the wounds, even though Anya previously pointed out that the sugar makes the mouthwash useless as a disinfectant. Hating to see Daisuke in pain, Swansea takes pity on the kid and puts him out of his misery by swinging an axe to his head. Jimmy enters the medical bay and sees Anya's corpse, revealing that she overdosed on painkillers. After Jimmy opens a safe and takes the handgun, Curly bizarrely starts to laugh at the situation. Realizing that Jimmy is the cause of all their misery, Swansea starts charging at him, axe in hand. But Jimmy gets the upper hand and subdues Swansea, restraining him to a chair. Well aware that Jimmy is about to kill him, Swansea opens up about his past. Even after giving up alcohol, raising a family, and holding a stable job, he confesses that he was at his happiest when he was in a drunken haze. He also implies that he was saving the last cryopod for Daisuke, not for himself. Swansea gives a big FU to Jimmy just before he gets shot. With his sanity pretty much gone at this point, Jimmy carries Curly and lays him on the dining table, joined by his dead crewmates. He starts hallucinating his crewmates being alive, and happy to celebrate his birthday party, Jimmy cuts off a piece of Curly's leg and eats it. He then delivers a speech, angry at Curly but still holding on to hope for survival. Delving further into madness, Jimmy takes a chunk of Curly's leg and shoves it down his throat. As his hallucinations progress, Jimmy grapples with his inner conscience, appearing as Curly, who urges him to take responsibility. Despite everything, it really seems that, deep down, Jimmy does feel guilty for everything he did. Determined to redeem himself, Jimmy carries Curly to the utility room and places him in the last functioning cryopod. After activating the cryopod, Jimmy ends his own life. And that's the end. The cryopod will stay active for about 20 years, but who knows if anyone will ever find Curly, drifting through space. Moral of the story, don't be like Jimmy. So that was Mouthwashing Condensed. Thanks for watching.